This is Humanities 120, Chapter 1, Part 1. Chapter 1 focuses on prehistory and Near East civilizations. The first humans began to walk across the planet 100,000 years ago. They migrated from Africa to Asia to Europe. Homo sapiens had migrated across the eastern hemisphere and even the western hemisphere, reaching the latter by means of a land bridge that connected Siberia and Alaska. People had begun to use more sophisticated tools, such as fish hooks, bows and arrows, and needles. They were hunters. Most impressively, however, late Paleolithic people began to express themselves in art. Ice Age cave paintings of reindeer, bison, rhinoceroses, lions, and horses in Altamira, Spain, and Lascaux, France, date from the Upper Paleolithic 40,000 to 10,000 BCE, before Common Era. These are the very earliest examples of human art that we have, and they suggest that the Paleolithic people were very conscientious of the nature surrounding them. On the screen now, you should see some examples of cave art. This, again, is the earliest form of art which has survived. It's been found all around the world, from Europe, Australia, Africa, and China, as well as other places. This type of art typically depicts animals, but we have found humans, weapons, crude maps, and some symbols. The earliest known Western cave paintings date to 32,000 years ago in what is now modern-day France. Ancient paintings were executed on dark cave walls, and these were first found by a young girl named Maria, who looked up and exclaimed, "Look, Papa, the bulls!" This cave, Altamira in northern Spain, had had no visitors for the past 10,000 years until Maria and her father sat in the flickering darkness of a lamp and saw the bulls, oxen, and bison that were so vividly prancing on the ceilings of the cave. These scenes that were depicted would open up a whole new chapter to artistic expression and science. Since then, scores of these caves containing prehistoric paintings dating back to 30,000 years have been discovered in Spain, France, Italy, and most recently in Portugal. According to Jim Hollander, where I'm getting much of this information, these works of art have been pored over by scientists and laymen alike, who've come up with theories ranging from the simple to the absurd, trying to explain why ancient Cro-Magnon humans ventured into the dark and dangerous caves to depict animals who roamed the icy plains of that time. 20,000 years ago in Europe, in the land south of the ice sheet, our ancestors had already evolved a means of expressing their inner life or being. Essentially nomadic, living in a cold, harsh environment at the mercy of the ebbing and flowing glacial periods, they sought out these caves as protection from the elements. And back in the deep, dark recesses, they painted their own experiences. The times were hard back then. There was a very thick layer of ice covering, slowly receding from much of what is modern-day Europe. And man's existence depended on strength and cunning to stay alive by killing wild animals with the most rudimentary stone and wood weapons. Archaeologists tell us much about this way of life, the family structure, and even burial practices, but little can be told with certainty about the why that made them paint on these cave walls and choose the subjects that they did. The cave humans used the tools she or he found at hand. Pigments were ochre and manganese and iron dug from the earth and mixed with animal fat or charcoal, perhaps left from the same fires which burned to light the darkness of the caves. The canvas was the walls, the floors, the ceilings of the caves that they lived in, or that they found in the deep, darkest part to express themselves. Occasionally, stone or flint tools were used to engrave or carve a relief, and sometimes the natural variation in the surface of the walls was used to achieve a three-dimensional effect. The subject of the art, again, was mostly animals, things they knew the best. These animals were what they depended on for food and clothing. Their very existence could mean danger or death. The animals have all been drawn in single figures, animals in pairs, or in whole compositions. Lines were overlapped or new figures were superimposed over those of an earlier time or age. And human figures were more crudely rendered rendered than the animals, and were often nearby. Sometimes hands were used as a stencil, but most intriguingly, the Paleolithic artists painted signs, non-representational forms that were repeated over and over in never-ending variation. These have been variously interpreted to mean sexual symbols, counting methods, architectural structures, lunar variations, or depictions of plant life. The Paleo style was one of freeness with a flowing, often sensitive line, and an ease of composition, a oneness with the work. Working by the light of charcoal, the artist produced an art form which has seldom been equaled to this day. The style is universal, for similar drawings and identical themes are found in caves many hundreds of miles apart, symbols which continued little changed for 10,000 years. The wonders of the dark dew captivate. They were painted before the invention of cultivation, when man was modern but still a hunter and gatherer. With a few quick deft strokes, this ancient artist could conjure up the essence of a woolly mammoth, a deadly, wild animal, complete with a sense of weight, skill, and even expression. Cro-Magnon human not only survived to paint another day, but evolved into a modern man over the many thousands of intervening years. He or she also left behind an artistic legacy that influenced modern artists and captivated and left awestruck all who see and experience this art, which belongs to all of us. Almost 350 cave art sites have been found. One of the most famous is the Cave of Lascaux. The website for the Cave of Lascaux has a really interesting computer-generated tour that one can take. It is in French, though there's supposed to be an English version as well. But if you click on the word that looks like visit, it should take you there. And again, this is the website, lascaux.culture.fr for the country French, /fr/00.html. Okay, now the Cave of Lascaux is the site of some of the earliest known art. It was discovered in 1940 by 4 teenagers on an excursion into the French hillside. The cave is a series of spaces which displays vast amounts of imagery. There are more than 600 animals depicted in Lascaux, and of these, the horse is most predominant, followed by the bison. There's also several versions of ox, stags, mammoths, reindeer, bears, felines, rhinoceroses, and a few birds and fish. These animals represent the types of fauna known to Paleolithic humans. And in addition to the animal figures, there are signs depicted which are associated with the animals, and one lone human. This area in southwestern France where the Cave of Lascaux is located is on the slope of the Pyrenees Mountains and is known for its caves. The rock shelters and natural limestone caverns provided an ideal environment for preserving the art. Of the more than 130 caves in the area, the Cave of Lascaux is the most famous, but all of these caves have artistic elements we know today: engraving, sculpture, painting, and drawing. Unfortunately, the caves have been closed. They were closed in 1963 after it was determined that the visitor's breath, the carbon dioxide coming off of it, was causing the artwork to deteriorate. So again, though, you can take a virtual tour, but you have to go to this website online, and if you substitute the second FR for EN, you can probably get an English version. So not the first FR in the website address, but the second FR. Substitute it for EN, and it should take you to a online virtual tour of Lascaux, which is pretty interesting. Now, another type of Upper Paleolithic art is seen in the carved figure, female figure found at Willendorf, Austria. It's made of limestone. The statue is faceless and rotund. The distended stomach and full suggest that the figure may have been used as a fertility symbol and as an image of the mother goddess, representing the creative power of nature. As a mythological figure, the mother goddess appeared in many ancient cultures beginning in this time period. Approximately 30,000 miniature sculptures have been found of a mother goddess. That's staggering. 30,000 mini sculptures of a mother that has been found from Paleolithic times. This particular figurine from Willendorf, with its emphasized breast, navel, and vulva, is symbolic of creativity and may have been used in religious ceremonies to ensure the propagation of the tribe or to guarantee a bountiful supply of food. Specifically, this Willendorf image was found in 1908 by the archaeologist Joseph Zimbathi, and it was found in a deposit about 30 meters above the Danube River in Austria. Its earliest notice of discovery was reported by the Yale anthropologist McCurdy, who happened to be in Vienna in the summer of 1908. And although the great collection had not been unpacked, McCurdy reported that before he left Vienna, Zimbathi had shown him this single remarkable specimen, a human figurine, full-length, carved out of stone. This statuette, which measures 11.1 centimeters in length, is now in Vienna's Natural History Museum. It was carved from fine porous limestone not found in the region and suggested tools, float tools, which were also probably not local. So somehow the Venus traveled to get there. When it was first discovered, it was thought to be much younger than it really is. Current dating of it suggests that it was from the time period 24,000 to 22,000 BCE, again before conquest. Now, this particular Venus is named so kind of in mocking irony because the famous Venus, which is the one from the 15th century by Botticelli, suggests a woman that's a bit more modest. Her pubic area is covered, her breasts are covered a bit. There's no defining forms around her hips area. But the Venus of Willendorf is actually very in our face sexually. She has extended breasts, a large pubic area with large labia and vulva. She also has her arms from the side view, the middle picture. You can see her arms are resting over ginormous breasts, and she has flat buttocks in the back view, again, that are fairly large. So she does have a lot of qualities that really suggest that her sexualness or her fertility or her body was important. There was no, at this time period, no reason to hide the female body, no reason to be ashamed of it. That didn't come until patriarchal religions, which are still a long way away. So this is the end of part 1 of chapter 1 for Humanities 120. Please continue with part 2 next. Thank you.